Good morning from the mountains. How beautiful. Literally, I love the mountains. So, I just wanted to talk about our sleep training because I wanted to do a daily update, but then I realized that if I wait until he goes to bed tonight, then I'll miss the first day. And I didn't have time this morning because we were coming to the mountains, so he's just sleeping. We're just on a walk waiting for my friend to get here. So, first day of sleep training. First, I'll preface this by saying if you don't like sleep training, then you don't need to watch this video. Second, we're doing the Taking Cara Babies program. Someone sent it to me. I didn't pay for it. It was bright this way. But yeah, so that's what we're doing because that's just the one that people most like. Oh my god, it's bright and I'm like trying to breathe. That's the one that people recommended the most. So that's what we're doing. And if you've never looked at it, you can Google it to see what it is fully, but basically they fall asleep by themselves. We cut out the nighttime feedings so that we all get more sleep. And the other night it was 3 o'clock in the morning and I decided that I've had enough of this waking at night because he was waking up too many times, and I just was like, he's 7 months old now, and I just thought it's time that he just sleeps properly. And I also would like to have him off breastfeeding by the end of March. So we have like 2 months, and this seems like a good way to segue into that. So yeah, so yesterday was day one. For some reason I did it, there, now you can see me. For some reason I did it when Chris wasn't home, which like in hindsight it was fine because I was like, oh, I'll just do this by myself since I did the bedtime routine anyway. But then when it was like happening, I was like, oh, maybe it would have been good if Chris was there. But anyway, he wasn't there and I decided we're gonna do it anyway. And so I gave him a bath, and then I fed him, and then I read him books. So that's the thing, is that they're not supposed to nurse to sleep, and that was one of the things that I've been doing because I just kind of got lazy and it was just easier. So every time he woke up, I would nurse him back to sleep, and so that's one of the things you're not supposed to do according to this plan, and it makes sense. So you're like not rewarding the crying with feeding, so they stop doing that. And so yeah, our bedtime routine has to change a little bit. So we had a bath, then I fed him, and then read his books, and then I put him in his crib. And last night, I think he was already like, I don't know, babies don't know, but like I felt like he already knew something was happening because like he didn't even get drowsy while I was feeding him, and usually he does. And so he was wide awake when I put him to bed, and like on any other night, it would have been bad anyway, but we had to stick to our guns. And so it was a rough hour that he cried, but you go in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes, every 15 minutes until he falls asleep. And so you go in, you can't pick them up, that's like the rule. You just have to like pat their belly and be like, you're doing great, sweetie. It's okay, I still love you. I'm sorry that we're all dealing with this right now. And so I'll put up my little like chart that I kept track, but I think we made it till it took him basically an hour to fall asleep. I don't know how many 15 increments that was. I think it was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then like 3 15 minutes. And then the last 15 minute that I went in, just like trying to like telepathically tell him to just like go to sleep and then this will all be over. Then I went in the last time, and then I was like, it's gonna be okay. And he kind of like cried, and then I left, and then he fell asleep right away. So it took basically an hour of him crying, and I felt really sad. I didn't cry, but I felt sad, and I'm sure he felt so betrayed. But yes, and then so he fell asleep. So that was at like 8. I'll put it in my chart. I don't remember. I can't see it right now, but it was basically like 8:30ish or 7. No, went to bed at 7, like 08. So then it was like 8:15 or something by the time he actually like fell asleep. And then we're implementing a dream feed again. So you, instead of waiting for him to wake up to feed him, which is what I've been doing, you just feed him when he's sleeping so that he still gets the food but doesn't say that he's crying. I don't know. Anyway, I was dream feeding back in before when he was just like a newborn, and I just felt like it wasn't doing anything, but we're back at it. So at 10:30, right before I went to bed, I went and fed him. I was just like praying the whole time that he wasn't going to wake up before I fed him, but he didn't, because if they do wake up, you can't feed them. You have to like do the like 5 minute, 10 minute thing and then let them fall asleep and then go feed them. And so I was really hoping he wasn't going to wake up. So he didn't. 10:30, and then I had an alarm set for 3:15. But you know when you're like anticipating an alarm and then you wake up like a billion times because you're like, did it happen? Did I miss it? Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I woke up at like 2 and then couldn't really fall back asleep. And I was just same thing, hoping that he wasn't going to wake up before the 3:15 mark, because usually he wakes up between like 2 to 4 usually. So then I'm like swaying. I'm rocking this. So hopefully that's not like really irritating to watch. I just feel like it's better than when I'm walking. But here, we'll walk anyway. because it's not sunny out. And I caught my breath. And so I put him at 10:30. He went to sleep. He was like kind of awake when I put him back in, which they're supposed to be, but I wasn't about to like wake him up fully because we just went through all that. And so went to bed at 10:30, and then 2 a.m. Sorry, I'm like repeating myself now. 2 a.m. I woke up, and then he woke up at 2:45, and he just kind of like was fussing, like almost as if he was like, can I cry? Or is she just gonna leave me anyway? So he kind of like fussed and like kind of cried, kind of was talking, probably for like 10 minutes. And I didn't go in because I was like if he's just doing that, he might just go back to sleep anyway. And it wasn't really loud. I probably wouldn't have heard it in like a normal night, but because I was already awake, I could hear it. And then he actually started crying at like 3-ish, I think, or something, 3:10. I don't know. I'll put my little thing up. And so he actually started crying. So I went in, did the little like, you're fine. Like if you just stayed sleeping, we were so close to eating, but now we have to wait. And then I went out, and then I was on the 10-minute mark, but he fell asleep within like a few minutes. And so I just waited another like 5 minutes to make sure he was actually sleeping. And then counterproductively, I went back in there and fed him. And then obviously like he fed to sleep, which like the like rule is you're not supposed to, but I was like, it's like 3:30 in the morning. Like we all just want to be sleeping. And so I just let him like nurse for 15 minutes because you're supposed to keep track. So like to get rid of the night feeding, you have to like slowly reduce the feedings. And so I fed him for 15 minutes. Basically, I was just seeing how long he would feed anyway. And then moving forward, I'll like reduce by 2 minutes every day. But so he fed for 15 minutes, put him to bed, and he slept till 7. So that was all good. So it was really just like the putting him to bed part that was the problem. And then me not getting as much sleep because I was awake and he wasn't awake. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. So pretty mediocre night last night, but hopefully tonight's better. You do it every night. It's supposed to take like 10 days or something for him to fully just be able to go to sleep by himself and not have the night feed. So that's the plan. That's my update. We'll go again tonight and I will let you know how it goes. So we're in the mountains now. We'll see you tomorrow.